Hello, everybody. It's been such a long time. We are so excited to do a special edition of College Coaching Network's Social Spotlight Live. Hello, we miss you guys, but today we have a very, very special treat. We have with us today Mr. Konsta Myrick, who which I think I may have said that wrong. He'll correct me in a moment. But he is actually a firefighter with the Kansas City, Missouri local fire department. And so we are so excited to have you here with us. He is live in the College Coaching Network studio at the Hy-Vee Arena in downtown Kansas City, Missouri. So thank you for tuning in. He has agreed to take the 10-10 challenge today, where Clyde, of course, is going to ask him questions all about his very first job, and then we'll also get to learn more about the Kansas City, Missouri Fire Department as well. Turn it over to Clyde.
Yeah, let's go. So you ready to jump into this?
Absolutely.
All right. So here's the first question. Now, one, I just want to thank the fire department because is it Local 42?
Yeah.
All right, Local 42. So before we jump into the challenge, why did you choose to jump into the firefighter department? What made you do that?
For a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to be in contact with the people,
Oh, that's enough.
Okay.
You got to hear the rest of this. We got to go through the challenge. I did that for a reason, just to see you ready to listen to him when I'm going into the challenge. See, he thought I was going to get him. All right, so let's jump to it. All right. First question is, what was the title or position of your first job?
My very first job, I was a regional admissions coordinator at Park University. Essentially, what that was I was a college recruiter, ironically. And that's what I did, from 2003 when I graduated from the University of Missouri until I'd say probably around 2005 or so.
Wow. Okay. Pretty nice job for the first one. So
Yeah,
let's see.
bad.
That wasn't a Burger King job. Okay. So what was your hourly pay in your first position?
Oh Lord, it was pretty low. God, it was so low. I don't remember. It was low enough to where I couldn't afford, any benefits. I couldn't afford health insurance. I think the only thing I could afford was dental insurance. And I didn't go to the dentist very often. The yearly salary I think was about $29,000 a year, which was okay. But once I realized when I got out on my own how difficult it was to live on, especially with having two kids, it was pretty difficult. Those were humble beginnings for me.
Yeah, definitely. Now, normally I don't go back down memory lane, but you said your first job paid you $29,000 a year.
Right.
So did you never work in like the fast food or the traditional teenage jobs?
My first job as a teenager was at Quick Trip, actually.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
Gotcha.
The Quick Trip job. Yes,
Yes,
Quick Trip
that's the job.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So what was that now? You said $29,000 was humble beginnings and just dental.
Yeah.
At Quick Trip, I'm sure you couldn't afford dental. So what was your hourly pay at Quick Trip?
My hourly pay at Quick Trip was about between $12.50 and $13 an hour.
That ain't bad. Oh, you trumpet. Look, one of our guests on Social Spotlight Live, his was 50 cents. He was a potato farm.
Oh my.
That was like highway robbery right there.
Right.
All right. How did you feel when you first saw those tax deductions coming out of your first check?
Are we talking Quick Trip or from
Quick Trip?
Quick Trip.
Yeah.
Quick Trip.
Back to the beginning.
Well, I was pretty stunned. I was pretty stunned on the percentage of my check that it took. So, I had this idea in my mind that I would be making this much, and then when I got the check, it was a fraction of that. So it was a wake up call for me. I'll say that.
Yeah, big time. Okay, so what did you do with your first check? If you can ever remember going back, what did you do?
Probably bought some jewelry, knowing me back then at that age. I was 17, 18. I think I went and bought some jewelry.
Yep. I'll sidebar that real quick. I will never forget when I used to like jewelry, like gold chains, stuff like that back in the day. And so I bought a gold chain from a guy. Don't ever do this. Off at the car wash, and the chain turned green.
I was going to say, I hear a green next to
in
it.
about 2 weeks. So yeah, it was pretty bad. So kids, don't ever buy gold chains for people at the car wash. All right, what did you like about your first job?
The thing I liked about it mainly was the fact that it gave me a little bit of independence. I like the interaction with not only with my coworkers, but I like the interaction with the people. I'm sure you all have been to Quick Trip. It is a very busy environment.
Mm-hmm.
It was an environment that I had never really worked in before, and I was constantly moving. So there was never really any downtime. There was never a dull moment. And I also like, getting the free food and snacks
Yes.
as well. That was that was a big benefit. So.
Massive benefit. And I've had many of those chips and hot dogs from
Yes,
there
sir.
all the time. That was pre-COVID. Right now, different environment. All right, biggest life lesson that you ever gained from working in your first job?
The biggest life lesson I've learned was just to always be open-minded to learning, not being afraid to get uncomfortable, because I've learned in my life that being uncomfortable is what helps you grow if you're willing to do so. So that is where that began, and that carried me on, in my life, and I still, abide by that perspective to this day. You have to be willing to get uncomfortable in order to grow and get better and, move to where you want to move.
That's good. That's good. Life lesson that I probably still need to live by today. All right. Did you take a sack? Well, you didn't have to worry about lunch. So I'll back off that question because you had free food there. All right. What song best describes your first job?
That's a tough one. I would say I don't like to dream about getting paid.
Was that Eric being Raquel?
That was Dog Pound.
Yeah. I love it.
That song rang out of my head every day, and especially when I was, hating the job, and I would just think in my mind, hey, you can get you a car here in a few months if you just keep going. Let's not dream about it. Let's do it.
Make it a reality. I love it. All right. All right. Were you late or on time?
I was always on time.
I could tell that. Yeah. He was here early. Yeah, definitely. All right. And where'd you get that from? I got to stop by that question. Where'd you learn that from?
Well, I learned promptness mostly from my parents, because I think they instilled in me, first of all, they would get me everywhere very early. Now they would probably pick me up late, but they would always get me to all my activities very early. So, class started at 6:30, they would always get me there at 6. So I think that was ingrained in me from the start. So once I became independent and I started, transporting myself to my own activities and to my own jobs, even to school, it was kind of ingrained in me that you always get there 15 to 30 minutes early. And that's something that I instill in my daughter now too, because she likes to split the whistle, and she works real close to the house. So she's kind of spoiled in that manner. And I'll say, hey, just because we live 5 minutes away doesn't mean you can split the whistle. Get there, 10 minutes in advance, not only does it give you, a chance to prepare for what you're about to do, but it shows those that you're working with that you care enough, to get there early. Yeah.
It's funny because my wife was raised the same way. Her parents, 15 minutes early is on time, and on time is late, that kind of thing, right?
That's absolutely right.
And so, and my mom, she's instilled some amazing values in me. One of the things that I've learned though is my mom is on time, but I've seen when she was working that there was times that she was kind of like, kind of pushing it. But I've seen my mom always get there on time, even if she was behind, right? I was talking to my stepfather yesterday, and he told me that one time she woke up so fast that he doesn't think that her hands touched the bed. She just jumped up without. So I thought that was a funny thing.
Yeah.
All right, so last one. What's the funniest or most embarrassing moment that you ever had on your job?
Oh Lord, are we talking any job or?
Go for it.
Well. The most embarrassing moment that I had on the fire department, I was cooking some burritos in the microwave, and I think I hit. I was supposed to hit 2 minutes. I think I hit too many zeros, so I think it was on 20. And and then I went and did something else. I think I went and turned on the TV or something like that, and I walked away and it started smoking. Of course, we could smell it, but dispatch called. I said, "Hey, we're getting a fire alarm at you guys' station." And man, everybody looked at me. I don't know if I'd ever live that down.
That's what you call job security, right there.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Were you first just getting into the position?
I was a young firefighter. Yeah, I think I had a year or two on the job. So yeah, this was probably back in like 2007 or so, 2007 or 2008. And I never lived that down. They talked about that every day. Anytime I put something in the microwave after that, they said, hey, let's call dispatch and alert them. Just let them know that, Konsta's cooking. So, if the alarm sounds, it's a false alarm.
That is hilarious.
Oh, Mika, I'm going to throw it to you. I want to make sure we can, I love hearing about like where you started from. You completed the challenge, so kudos to you on that for sure. But I want to let the students not only hear where you started from, but how you kind of journeyed into what you're doing now. So I'm gonna throw it to Meek and let her ask you some questions kind of leading up to now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so before we got started, I got to kind of hear what made you get into firefighting. So I know there's a lot of students out there that's still trying to figure out what you're going to do, if college is the right choice, if taking a vocational option, or finding some direction in a career path. So what led you into going into being a firefighter? Because it's definitely not a position that you go into with just a closed mind, because it is a very dangerous but fulfilling profession from what I've heard from some. So what led you into getting into being a firefighter?
Yeah, so there were two major catalysts for that. The first one was just my desire to serve the citizens and serve the community, to work in public service. And I wanted to be in contact with the people, not only the people that I was working with, but the community that I grew up in, and that I was surrounded by on a day-to-day basis. Coming up as a young man, in the inner city. And secondary to that, well, I shouldn't say secondary, but in conjunction with that, I had two young kids at the time. I had a family to take care of, and not only did I need a decent salary, but I needed good benefits and good longevity in the form of retirement. What I'm going to do after I finish this career, because it's not something that you're going to do forever. And I wanted to be able to provide a stable living for my family. So with all those things in mind, those are the major reasons why I got into it, and it's worked out for me real well to this day.
Good. So I know some students may have thought about, what does it take to become a firefighter? So what does that process look like to actually get into the profession?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I came on the job, basically what you did is you filled out an interest card, and we actually still do that. And it basically just has basic information, your name, address, etc., that gets you on a what they call a contact list. And once they get all your contact information, we take a written test. This written test consists of basic math, geometry, problem solving, things of that nature. It's a fairly standardized test. Depth perception, reading comprehension, etc. If you do well enough on that, you advance to an interview portion where, at least when I came on the job, it was like a video assessment. So they gave you scenarios on the video, and you had to respond to them. And that was judging things like critical thinking, ethics, etc. If you did well enough on that, then you got another interview with somebody, an actual real live person from the fire department, where they ask you more specific questions about, why you want to be on the job, etc. Once you pass that particular portion, then you get an offer to go to the fire academy. Once you're in the fire academy, then that's when your education begins. So, you get certified to be an EMT, you get the state certification for firefighter 1 and 2, and hazmat operations and awareness. But you also have to pass a physical agility test, which is geared towards simulating the tasks of a firefighter, pulling hose, walking up steps with a heavy vest on, rescuing somebody, carrying equipment, etc. So it's pretty comprehensive. There's a lot that goes into it. You do all of that just to
just to
get out into the field. So it was pretty extensive, but that's kind of the path that we had, and here I am today.
That's good. Claude, you got it?
Yeah, real quick, I know we're going into like what you do every day, and we want the students to learn more about how to go into the trade, but you went from Quick Trip to the fire department, right?
Yeah.
So there's a story in the middle that we're missing, right? Absolutely. So we heard about the $29,000 a year job.
Correct.
But if that was where you started, the firefighter department didn't kick in until something must have happened in your life that kind of pivoted you that way. So can you walk us through how you journeyed from the $29,000 job to the epiphany of maybe this isn't the direction?
Most certainly. Well, in between there, I actually didn't go directly from that particular job to the fire department. I went from Park University actually to Overland Park Police Department. So I became a police officer for about a little under a year before I started the KCFD, and I applied to both at the same time. When I was in that previous position, I knew that I needed a career change. I really needed a life change. And so I applied to both, and this is, we were talking about this earlier. My mom was in my ear still, saying, hey, you need to, look at the fire department. I've been telling you that's a good, stable job. And so I saw this guy who actually still works for KCFD now. He came up to Park University. He was looking to take some fire science courses, and so he came to me, about, getting info about these courses. And I said, hey man, where you work? You work for the fire department? And we got to chatting, and, I asked him, how I would go about getting on, gave me some information, even gave me a reference for a book that I could use to prepare, for the written exam. And the rest was kind of history. But in between then, so I applied to both jobs at the same time. KCFD was really, really difficult to get on back then. I mean, that's back when we used to get thousands of applicants. So I applied and went through the process, and then I didn't hear anything forever. I just assumed that, maybe I wasn't qualified or they didn't want me, and so I went to work for OPPD. It didn't really work out, the way I wanted. The training was really fun, but once I got into the field, I'll just be frank, I didn't enjoy being a police officer. I can say that much. And I wasn't from Overland Park. I didn't grow up in Johnson County. Johnson County, great place, but it was very hard for me to relate to those citizens in that position, and it was hard for them to relate to me. So, I guess it was God, it was fate. I left that job, and right after, I swear, right after that, I got a call.
Wow.
From a battalion chief at the time. His name was John Neely. He's retired now, and I thought it was a joke. He said, "Hey, I'm calling to see if you want to start the fire academy." And I'm looking at my calendar. I'm like, I applied there. That was like 6 months ago. Like, are you sure you got the right guy? But he said, yeah. And so I went and took the medical evaluation, and next thing I know, I was starting the academy. And 14 years later, here I am.
So yeah, we got to unpack a couple of things. I'm sorry, I love to unpack stuff, so I apologize. Okay, so for 6 months, you said you applied to both of those jobs at the same time. So now you're in a place that initially it looked like that was the place that you should be.
Yeah.
But then as you got into the day-to-day, regimen of what it is, and this is speaking to people that are like, maybe you went to college, you have a degree in a particular area, and then you get out of college, it was all fun, you have, doing all that, and now you're in that day-to-day job, and you're like, this is not what I signed up for.
That's right.
So how did you feel once you understood that's not where you're supposed to be? What was your response to that? Because I see so many people that there's two things that happen. Some people get bitter in that situation, or other people look at what's the lesson I need to learn. So where was your mind at during that period?
At that time, I was pretty young. I was 24, 25. I had a mix of emotions. So it was a mix between bitterness and disappointment, but also a feeling of satisfaction to looking towards the future. I wasn't 100% sure what the future would hold for me, but I felt like, man, I've come this far, and now I've realized this is not what I'm meant to do. What am I going to do now?
Yes.
And again, I keep adding on that layer of the fact that I have these two kids to take care of.
Yes.
That was my motivating factor. Was that I have to provide for them, and I have to continue to provide for them. I don't want to be a failure not only as a man, but I don't want to be a failure as a father. And I want to do what I'm supposed to do. So that motivated me. I never sat around and sulked, at least not for too long, right? Maybe for about 10 minutes, but then I would get up and like, hey, I got to do something. And that is what it became. And when I got with the fire department, I knew very soon after that I would stick with it. But I would also say that that experience I had with the police department gave me some insight to life. I think it was a building block for my life. I don't really have anything negative to say about it, because I wouldn't be where I am today had I not experienced that, at that time in my life. So that gave me perspective coming into the fire department, and I was able to really blossom and soar, to new heights. So
I love that.
Yes.
So one of the things that I heard, and this is Mika saying right here, what I heard is, whenever a person is in a situation that they don't like, it's uncomfortable, it could be a transition, like this is maybe not your purpose, but it's transitioning you into your purpose. You have to, one, let it out. He didn't say that he wasn't honest about it. He said, hey, I soaked in it for maybe 10 minutes, right? Sometimes you're going to have to cry. Sometimes you're going to be disappointed. Sometimes you may be misunderstood, but you got to go through those emotional highs and lows, right? But then once you go through that, then the next move is you got to put your eyes back on what's most important. And for you, it was your children.
Yes.
They were your why.
Your why.
So exactly, right? So you got to connect back to what your why is. I want to be a good athlete. I want to go and be the first person in my family to graduate from college. I want to whatever your why is, right? You got to figure out what that why is. And then from the why, you have to be open, and sometimes you got to be comfortable enough to be patient just to wait for something to happen. Like you can still go out there, right, and make stuff happen. I get that, but you got to also have enough faith to say, okay, I did everything that I can do. Now I just got to rest, and I know that something is coming my way. I don't know when. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know how it's going to get there. So can you speak to people about when you were in that waiting pattern, which wasn't long, the transition, but it was still some moments.
Yeah.
So how did you handle that waiting pattern as the transition was taking place?
You know, I really just had to stay steadfast. You know, I had to stay determined, and you know, oddly enough, I think I got an odd job in the meantime. There was a small gap. I think there was like 3 months in between from where I left the police department and started with the fire department. You know, I just had to have faith, and I had to know that, you know, everything that I had done prior to that, and that's not only jobs but school, you know, my upbringing. I had to have faith that that was not, you know, all in vain. You know, I had to look at, you know, all the lessons that my father taught me, all the lessons that my mother taught me, and all the mentors that I had coming up, you know, and what they would expect of me, and what they knew that I could do, you know. And I used all of that and just told myself, hey, this is a very minor setback.
Yes.
You know, I have a very bright future ahead of me. I just have to believe it, you know. I think a lot of it starts with belief. If you don't believe it, you know, you're not going to achieve it. You're not even going to attempt to achieve it. You know, if you let yourself be defeated, you know, by small roadblocks, you're never going to go anywhere. So, you know, for me, it was, you know, taking that roadblock and saying, hey, you know, this is a stumble in life. You know, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get over the hump. And
look at you now.
Yes,
Right. Right.
Look at you now. So I know you got, this is your lane, so I'm gonna throw it to you. Then let's go into how the kids can take action and move into career path.
So one of the things I want to just kind of go back to, because you talked about being a police officer, totally blew my mind when you said it. Had no clue. And then becoming a firefighter. So there are certain characteristics in a person that makes them a great police officer, firefighter. Like there's certain jobs that a particular personality type fits. So is there anything in either a mentor that you came across or something that you read or learned about yourself that guided you into going toward those types of careers?
Yeah, absolutely. So I, as a young boy, my father, he put me in martial arts. I've been doing martial arts since I was about 6 years old. And it was one of those things that I stuck with even before I started playing basketball. It's something that I stuck with forever, even to this day. And so somewhere along the line, I started assisting my teacher, you know, in teaching young kids. And that is where those qualities kind of blossomed, you know, first from me watching him, you know, and how he carried himself, and how he would, you know, direct students and really impact people's lives. And have command presence, you know, that's an important, you know, characteristics, and knowing how to talk to people, you know. So I took all of that over the years, you know. I mean, just doing it over and over again. This became unconscious to me. So by the time I became an adult, I would say that I kind of fell into those career paths. Even with my first job out of college at Park, I mean, my job was to, you know, talk to high school students. You know, it's not something that I necessarily wanted to do, but it just kind of happened, you know, and I became really good at it. You know, I didn't necessarily like giving presentations to, you know, 100 kids, but it really worked, you know, and that took me to the police department. You know, I'd say that a good characteristic for a police officer is really just knowing how to talk to people, especially in this day and age. You know, just knowing how to talk to folks, even when they're escalated, you know, goes a long way, you know. And I took that same trait, you know, with me to the fire department. We often encounter people on some of their worst days, you know, or when they're not at their best, or when they may be, you know, mentally or medically altered, and just knowing how to empathize, you know, and communicate with people. I think those are some of the most important characteristics of the interpersonal communication skills. And I won't say that all firefighters are great at that. You know, we're all human beings, but I would say to be a very good one, you need to have those traits, and you need to continue to work on those. You know, you can't ever think that, oh, you know, I'm the best at this. You need to always be improving, because, you know, you never know, you might be somebody that is just not getting it, you're not clicking, so you need to learn how to be around different types of people from different backgrounds and different cultures, different communication styles, different language barriers, different barriers in life, different life experiences. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
It does. That is very good. So I know we're gonna get ready to wrap things up. A couple things I want to touch on, and then I'm sure Claude has some more things to bounce off. Is that what I heard is that leading up to your career path, there were inner abilities that you have been developing from your youth that has carried you on through life and put you in the position that you're in. And those are the things that students, if you connect with in life, you'll find a career path that you can actually have joy while you're doing it. Because it's one thing to make money, but it's another thing to truly enjoy what you do. Because if you enjoy what you do, work doesn't necessarily feel like work. It's more of a passion and purpose. And that's what I heard you say in conveying how the leadership and the communication skills were something that you developed over time. So I think that is truly amazing. I do want to ask, is there if there's a student out there that may be interested in becoming a firefighter, is there any type of programs or things that they can do to connect with the Local 42 in order to learn more?
Absolutely. There's several avenues. The easiest avenue, if they're interested, is to fill out an interest card. That's the most simple avenue, and that's to go to kcmo.gov/fire. The interest card it is on there. They can actually fill that out online, and that'll plug them into our system automatically. In addition to that, we are within the next year here, we're going to be starting a fire paramedic apprentice program. So they should be looking out for that. And what this program is going to do is going to help them get paramedic certification. And once they complete that, we'll even offer them a job, and they don't have to work for us, but it kind of gives them an incentive, if they want to work for KCFD, then we'll offer them a job to stay on. And then, and aside from that, they can always reach out, to me or one of the Local 42 representatives. And we're located in 6320 Manchester Avenue, and that's in Kansas City, Missouri. Phone number out there is 816-358-4222. And we'll give them all the information that they need, to come down this career path. Additionally, they always offer classes at Penn Valley Community College and also Blue River Community College, and I believe Johnson County Community College for EMT certifications, things of that nature. So there are several different avenues to answer your question, to where they can get the training and kind of get the introduction into the career. The good thing about our academy is that we train them for all the certifications there. So you can either get it beforehand, but even if you don't, it's not a requirement for you to have this, prior, because I didn't have anything, I'd never taken an EMT test. I never, worked on a patient, I patched up a Band-Aid on my arm a few times. That's about it. But they gave me, KCFD gave me all the tools that I needed to be where I am now, as a complete, civilian, from the streets. So that's really special to me, because a lot of the other surrounding departments, they require you to already have your stuff, together before you get on. And some small departments can afford to do that. But with us, we'll take anybody and say, hey, if you don't have it, that's okay. We'll make sure you get it. So
that's awesome.
And can I get that website one more time? Is it
kcmo.gov/fire.
Gotcha. All right. All right. So my last question to you is dealing more so with benefits.
Yeah.
So you talked about it's a stable job, so good income.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a pension in the fire?
We do. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things and one of the most important things about the job. And I know a lot of people don't see the importance of it. When you're in your 20s, it's some of them not even when they're in their 30s. But as I'd say between 35 and I'm 40 now, I started to see not only the importance but the benefit of getting paid for life.
Right.
Yes.
And how profound that is. So, now when I see young students out, I don't just tell them about the cool parts of the job, and the romanticized parts of the job. That's great and all, but I also tell them, listen, you get a salary for life. If you give us 25 years, guess what? The next 25, you can continue to get paid, and you can either do nothing or you can go work somewhere if you want to, and that is that's so important, because again, it's not a job that you can do forever. I mean, you probably could, you probably shouldn't.
Right.
Forever. But the value of having such a program where you can put your time in, and then you can go enjoy your life, and still you'll have some stable income coming in, that you don't have to get up and work for 24 hours anymore, and go and put your life on the line every day. It's truly amazing, and I, like I said, these past 5 to 10 years, I began to see the importance of that more and more and more and more. I got about 11 years left, and you got to start thinking about the future. It's not just about what you're doing now. It's what are you going to do after that. And so that's what I preach to the young people a lot, is life after work. And unless you want to work forever, and that's not,
No.
I don't. I got a lot of other things I want to do, and I want to enjoy my life. I'll be eligible for retirement at 51. I may not go right at 51, but by the time I'm about 55, 56, I want to enjoy the rest of that time. I see some guys that'll work, until they're 65 or 70, and I'm talking about fire department employees, and then 5 years later they're dead.
Right.
And that's just really unfortunate. So it's very important. The pension is great. It is great to have a job like that. I know all jobs don't have them, but any type of
Most
retirement.
don't anymore.
Yeah, it's like
Most do not
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And we also have a deferred compensation program that is really good too. So if you stack that on top of the pension, I mean, that's where being smart with your finances comes in. And it's great. I'm looking forward to I love the job now, but I'm even looking more forward to life after
The job after the job.
Yeah. I gotta have
Look,
more money.
Yeah.
Right. That's definitely a conversation
That's what I thought
that we
about,
need
yes.
to have a social learning live on,
That's right.
because as a younger person, it's not something that you think of
That's right.
what you're going to do after this career. Trust me,
Yeah.
as you get older and you have children, they graduate, getting up early in the morning and going to work is not something you're going to want to do. And if you're not working, you have to find a way that your money works for you.
That's right.
So talking about pensions and ways to live life after working is going to be something that we definitely need to touch on.
Yes.
And look, I know that's your numbers area.
Yes.
So I want to thank you for coming out and talking to us and our students today, Konsta. And of course, I'm going to turn it over to Claude so he can close. But shout out to the Kansas City Fire Department.
42?
Yes, Local
right.
42. Your job is not easy at all. You take calls from A to Z, and you put your life on the line every day, whether it's been battling the pandemic or rushing into a fire. So College Coaching Network wants to say salute. Thank you so much for all that you do, your work, your time, and dedication to our community.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. So in conclusion, we thank you. We got a special treat, but we're going to actually delay that. We're going to delay the special treat because we want you guys to see some things that we're doing at College Coaching Network. This next year, going into the 21-22 graduates, we are going to have some amazing things. I do want to give you guys a shout out, and maybe we can have Konsta to come for the event we're going to do September the 21st. September the 21st, we are now an official regional partner with Infinite Scholars, and we will have a scholarship college fair down here at the Hy-Vee Arena. You'll have free tickets, definitely if you remember College Coaching Network. And we've seen scholarships through these fairs that are anywhere between $3 to $5 million that are given out from the colleges that have come to have their booths and everything set up. But we want to make it a little bit different. So we want to have it where if you're looking to go into different industries like firefighters, the trade association, or whatever that may be, that we give you guys a plethora of options that are available for you in your future. So be on the lookout. College Coaching Network has been working underground for the last 3 or 4 months. But when we come up, we want everybody to come up with us. So we are grateful for you guys listening to the podcast today. Shout out to everybody. God bless. Take care.
Thank you.